Hi, so a while ago I ran into a very frustrating issue. I was prepping for a show and went to start stringing necklaces, and when I got to the chain I realized that most of it had tarnished. You know that black dull looking oxidation on silver that makes it look super dirty? Yeah, it sucks, and it was all over my chain. And I wasn't about to hand polish every single chain, it would have been a nightmare. So I went through the internet rabbit hole looking for solutions, and I came across a Reddit thread that mentioned the baking soda and tinfoil method. And since I had nothing to lose, I decided to give it a try. And to be honest, I was very skeptical, but to my surprise, it actually worked. And since then, it's been my go-to method to remove tarnish from silver before shows. So today I'm going to show you exactly how I do it at home. It's safe, it's easy, and you probably already have all of the ingredients in your kitchen. I'm also going to be demonstrating what I do for silver plated chain, like gold plated, rose gold plated. It's a similar method, but it needs a gentler approach, but we'll get into that. What I'm also going to be doing today is testing a brass method that I found on the internet. Now, I haven't done this before, so I look forward to seeing the results, as brass is a completely different metal with its own quirks. But before we jump into the cleaning, let's talk about why this happens. So silver tarnishes when it reacts with sulfur in the air, even if you're not wearing it. Humidity, sweat, lotion, even the storage method can speed up the process. And it's totally normal, but thankfully it's super easy to resolve. Okay, so this is what you will need. A bowl, it needs to be glass or ceramic, not metal. Some aluminum foil, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt. This is optional, but it does boost the reaction. Your tarnished jewelry, an optional skewer for agitation, and boiling water. So first off, you're going to line your bowl with the aluminum foil. Do this shiny side up. Then if I'm cleaning more than one necklace, I like to take a little piece of the aluminum foil and then create a loop for the necklaces to keep them apart. Then you're going to sprinkle 1 teaspoon of the baking soda and then 1 teaspoon of the salt. Then you're going to fold over the foil, pressing it onto the chain, making sure that they're in contact, but not too tight so the water can't flow in easily. Then in with your boiling water over the jewelry until it's fully submerged. This is when I'm going to be using the skewer to agitate the water a little bit. Then let it sit for about 5 minutes. You're definitely going to notice a sulfur smell. That is the tarnish being removed. Now let this sit for 5 minutes. Once they've sat for about 5 minutes, you can remove the jewelry. You're going to immediately see a difference. So you can rinse off the solution with clean water and then dry it with a soft cloth.
Wow!
So this is an electrochemical reaction. The tarnish, or silver sulfide, transfers from your jewelry onto the aluminum foil, with no scrubbing needed. Now, does this work on gold-plated sterling silver? Gold-plated sterling silver has a layer of gold over the silver, so it's more delicate than solid silver. This method can work, but you need to be very gentle. You need to limit the soaking time under 2 minutes and avoid scrubbing or abrasive cloths. Also, don't do this too frequently, it could wear away the thin gold layer. I only do this once if my silver plated chains have tarnished, because I don't want to risk losing the plating. So the process for the gold-plated silver is going to be very similar, but we will only soak this for 2 minutes and we're going to use less of the salt. So this time we're going to go in with 1 teaspoon of the baking soda and just a sprinkle of salt. Then I'm going to be creating a foil ball, which I'm going to place on top of the chain just to make sure that everything is in contact with the foil. So this is after 2 minutes of soaking, and as you can see, the results are amazing. So let's move on to brass. So these are 3 rings in different stages of oxidization. The first ring is my signet that I wear. Brass loves to be worn, so it's in pretty good shape already. The second ring is the tentacle ring, which I have previously polished, but I let it sit outside in the studio, so it's looking a little bit dull. This comes straight out of casting from my pickle pot, and it's probably about 6 months old. I've never polished it, so I'm interested to see what the results are going to be on a ring that's never been polished. So brass doesn't tarnish the same way as silver does. It actually oxidizes and develops a dull color, or even can turn green over time. So apparently there's a few methods, but one of the easiest, and it's the one I'm going to test today, is to make a paste from 3 ingredients. You're going to need lemon juice or vinegar, baking soda, and cream of tartar. The cream of tartar is optional, but apparently, like salt with the silver, it boosts the cleaning power. So you're going to mix all 3 ingredients into a paste. So you can use a brush or a cloth to rub it into the brass. You can also use a toothbrush. I'm going to be using a brush. So you gently want to rub this paste into the brass, and then they say to let it sit for a couple of minutes, but not too long because acids can be harsh. Okay, so I'm going to apply the paste. It's actually quite acidic on the fingers, so maybe I should have been wearing gloves. Next time I'll wear gloves. This is what it looks like. I'm gonna leave this here for about 5 minutes and then I'll come back to check on it. Okay, it's been about a minute and I can already see the brass starting to shine up a little bit. Oh yeah, I can definitely see a bit of a difference already. I'm gonna leave this for another 4 minutes or so. Okay, I'm gonna rinse this off and see what the results are. But I can already tell that it's looking much better. Okay, wow, I can see a massive difference. It definitely does something to the brass. It's much shinier. Jeez. So, I mean, on polished pieces that have developed that oxidation, this is going to be a really good method for cleaning them up. It's really good, but I think because brass doesn't oxidize the same way that silver does, it's not such a massive contrast, but it does brighten the brass up, most definitely. Okay, so I do think I'm going to be using this method just to make sure that I can liven up the brass a little bit. I do seal my brass rings on the inside with a coat of Protector Clear, but I can't imagine that the acid's going to be good for the Protector Clear coating, so that's something to think about. So since my massive chain tarnish disaster, I've started sealing all of my pieces in Ziploc bags between each show to make sure that no moisture gets trapped in. So I hope that this helped you rescue some of your favorite silver and brass pieces. It's honestly so satisfying to watch the tarnish disappear. And best of all, you don't need any fancy products or cleaners. And if you try this at home, please share your results and any methods or tips that you might have. Please consider subscribing, and I thank you for watching. Happy cleaning!